And welcome my dear friends and students. In today's video, I am going to explain the relation between surface tension and surface energy. So in previous video, we discussed various fundamental definitions. Then we had seen one relation as a definition of surface tension, that is T equal to E by A, where T is the surface tension, E is the surface energy and A is the area. Now here we have to obtain this relation T equal to E by A, which is known as the relation between surface tension and surface energy. Now in order to obtain this relation, you have to consider one open rectangular frame made up of wire. Now why it is called as open? Because this side of the frame is open and we have to use here one extra wire, that is the PQ wire, just in order to form the square. So that's why here we have to consider the first point as consider an open rectangular frame A, B, C and D, because this side is open initially. Then you have to consider one wire, that is the PQ. Now which is able to slide over this open frame without friction. So that now we have the here square frame, that is A, P, Q and the D. What is our first consideration point? Consider an open rectangular frame A, B, C, D made up of wire. On that open rectangular frame, we have to consider one wire PQ which is able to slide. These three sides are fixed, AB, AD and DC or CD. That three sides are fixed. Only the one side of that frame which is movable because of this wire PQ. Then you have to dip this rectangular frame into the soap solution. You have to dip this frame in soap solution and remove out gently, so that the soap film, thin soap film, that will be formed over the area APQD. So that's why I write here the second point as when the frame is dipped in a soap solution and taken out, then the surface film A, P, Q and D, that will be formed. Then as this is the side which is only movable, some force act on that side PQ, because of which that side move toward the AD. So that's why right here the wire PQ moves inward because of surface tension, because of whatever the force exerted on the side PQ because of this surface tension. So I draw here the direction of force, that is toward the AD. So this is the force which is acted on this side PQ because of the surface tension. Now consider various physical quantities. Let F be the force acting on the side PQ toward AD because of surface tension. L be the length of this side PQ and T be the surface tension of soap solution. Now you have to consider the force acting on the wire PQ. So we know that the definition of surface tension, that is T equal to F by L, where F is a force acting per unit length of that object. Now here we are considering the length of the wire PQ is L, and we write here F equal to T into twice L. So why this two factor is written here? Because the soap film has two surfaces which are in contact with the wire PQ. Both surfaces, soap solution, soap bubble or soap film, has two surfaces which are in contact with the that wire. So that's why I write here 2 factor. So force acting on the wire PQ is given by F equal to T into twice L. We write this step from this formula. If I write here twice L, then F equal to T into twice L. Why this 2 factor is written here? The reason is given. 2 factor indicate the soap film has 2 surfaces and both surfaces are in contact with the wire. Front side of the wire and that is the back side of the wire. So that's why we write here 2. So that is our equation number 1. So quickly revise it. We have to just consider one open rectangular frame ABCD on which we have to take one wire PQ. That wire is able to slide over this frame without any friction. Then consider that rectangular frame is deep in a soap solution and then remove gently so that soap film will be formed. Then you have to consider the movement of the side PQ. This side PQ, that is the wire PQ, move toward AD because of the force exerted due to surface tension. So let us consider F be the force acting on side PQ, L be the length of that side PQ, then T be the surface tension. So write down the first value, that is the force acting on the wire PQ because of this surface tension, that is given by F equal to T into twice L. Here 2 factor indicate that soap film has the 2 surfaces and both are in contact with the wire PQ. This twice L is also called as the effective length, total length of the wire which is in contact with the soap film. Now, after considering the force acting on the side PQ, now you have to displace this wire PQ through a small distance B against this force F. This is the applied force just to move the wire PQ from P to P dash and Q to Q dash through a small distance B. And this is the force acting on this side because of surface tension. So that's why I write here, let the wire PQ be pulled out through a small distance B, that is from P to P dash and Q to Q dash against this force. Now when we move this wire PQ through the small distance B, there is a change in surface area of this frame. So that's why to find the change in area, you have to consider final area minus initial area, because when we move this wire PQ through the small distance B, the surface area increases. So that's why we write here final area minus initial area. So write down here L in bracket L plus B minus L square. Now here multiply by this L. So that is L into L, L square. L into B, B. So that's why I write here L square plus LB minus L square. Cancel this L square. Therefore, the change in surface area because of the motion of wire PQ is L into B. But this is only for the one side. We have to consider the other side also. That is from the back side of this frame. Therefore, total change in area equal to twice into LB. Now consider the work done to move this wire PQ through the small distance. Therefore, here work done as usual formula, work done equal to force into displacement. Just put the value of force F equal to T into twice L from equation 1 and B as it is. Just we find out twice L into B is the total change in area. So that's why I write here work done equal to T into A. Now here this work done is stored in surface film in the form of potential energy. So that's why we can write here potential energy equal to surface tension into area. Now if I divide both sides by area, so I got potential energy upon area equal to surface tension. This potential energy per unit area is the surface energy. So that's why I write here surface energy equal to surface tension. This is potential energy per unit area, that is called as the surface energy. So surface energy equal to surface tension. So this is the simple relation which asked many times in our board exam. Here in your mind you have to first find the value of F, that is F equal to T into twice L. Secondly, you have to find the change in surface area, which is equal to twice LB. Then use the formula work done equal to force into displacement. Put the value of force, write down the value of area, and lastly this work done is stored in the form of potential energy, and that is our final answer. Potential energy per unit area, that is called as the surface energy. So surface energy is equal to surface tension. So this is the relation between surface tension and surface energy. Now consider some important points related to the surface energy and whatever the work done in breaking a single drop into many droplets or combining many droplets into a single drop. So first of all, consider here the first point, that is, as we here prove that surface tension equal to surface energy. In just the earlier relation, we prove potential energy per unit area equal to surface tension. This potential energy per unit area is the surface energy. So that's why I write here the first point, surface tension and surface energy both has same unit and dimension, that is joule per meter square. That's why I write the first point, surface tension has same unit and dimension as that of the surface energy because of this relation, that is T equal to S into images T equal to surface tension, surface energy. Surface tension equal to surface energy. Then second point you have to consider. Then consider the second point. If the number of liquid droplets are merged to form a single drop, if we have number of small droplets of equal size, and when these droplets combine together to form a single big drop. Now in this process, which are the things that get changed? So these 2 points are very important related to our objective question as well as the problem. Now if number of liquid droplets having same size are merged or combined together to form the single drop, then which are the things that get changed? The first one, surface area. Here when number of droplets, small size drops that are combined to form the big drop, in that case the first thing that gets changed, that is the surface area, that decreases. As surface area decreases, therefore surface energy decreases. Surface energy decreases. Here in this process, temperature of the liquid increases, and as temperature of the liquid increases, energy is liberated, energy is given out to the surrounding. So that's why energy is liberated. So these are the things you have to keep in mind when number of droplets of equal size combine together to form the single drop. In this process, surface area decreases, surface energy decreases, temperature increases, and because of which energy is liberated. Now in order to do this process, we have to perform certain work done, and this work done is given by the formula work done equal to change in surface area 4 pi r square into surface tension in bracket n to the power 1 by 3 minus 1 where n is the number of droplets. Whatever the number of droplets given here, that you have to put the value, and you can find out work done or surface energy in this process. Whatever the energy released, whatever the energy absorbed in this process, energy is released, liberated. So that can be found out by considering the formula work done equal to 4 pi r square into T, where T is a surface tension, in bracket n to the power 1 by 3 minus 1. Now opposite is the process. If a single drop is now split up into many droplets of equal size. Now in that process what happens? Opposite is the case. Now surface area increases. That's why surface energy increases. Here temperature increases. Here temperature decreases. Here energy liberated or given out. Here energy absorbed. So these are very important points which you have to keep in mind. Again the work done is same. That work done in breaking a single drop into many droplets, that is work done equal to 4 pi r square T in bracket n to the power 1 by 3 minus 1. So these are the very important points related to the MCQ or problem. Now let us consider what do you mean by angle of contact and its characteristic. Now when any solid that is inserted in a liquid which is taken in a container, it means when any solid which is in contact with the liquid, depending upon the nature of liquid, generally we have to consider the three liquids. That is the liquid which completely weight the solid, the liquid which partly weight the solid, and which doesn't weight the solid. That is pure water completely weight the solid, kerosene partly weight the solid, and mercury doesn't weight the solid. Now here when this glass plate is deep vertically in a liquid which is taken in a container, suppose this liquid is a kerosene, it means which partially weight. Now depending upon the nature, we have the shape of the free surface. It is horizontal or concave or convex. This surface is called as horizontal or plane. This surface is called as concave, and this surface is called as convex. Now we have to discuss later on here the cause of these three shape of the free surface of liquid. Now let us concentrate on what do you mean by angle of contact. When this single glass plate is deep vertically in a liquid, then this liquid come in contact with the solid. Now the point at which this solid touches the liquid or liquid touches the solid, this point is called as point of contact. Now if we draw a tangent to free surface of liquid, this is the free surface of liquid and this is the point of contact. Now if I draw a tangent to free surface, where at the point of contact, now this is the angle which is obtained just by considering the two things. The first one, tangent drawn to free surface at point of contact, and the part of solid which is present in liquid. The angle between them, that is called as the angle of contact. So you have to keep in mind the definition. What is the angle of contact? It is simply the angle between tangent and part of the solid which is present in liquid. But where we draw that tangent, at which point? So that's why you have to write here the angle between tangent, where we draw the tangent to the free surface. At which point? At point of contact. So the angle between tangent drawn to free surface of liquid at the point of contact and the part of solid which is present in the liquid. This is the part which is part of the solid which is present in liquid. This is the part of solid which is present in air. We have to consider the part of solid which is present in the liquid. So this angle is called as angle of contact. If you consider kerosene or somewhat water containing some minerals, so in that case we have the meniscus concave. In that case this is the angle of contact which is generally the acute angle. It means this is the angle always found to be less than 90 degree. Now in case of second liquid, that is the mercury, which doesn't weight the solid. In that case we have this type of shape, that is the convex. This is the point of contact. If I draw a tangent to this surface, now this is the angle between tangent and part of the solid which is in liquid. Now this angle is called as the angle of contact. Now this angle is always greater than 90. So in case of mercury, the angle is obtuse. In case of kerosene, the angle is acute. We have to discuss it later on. Here simply define the angle of contact as angle between tangent drawn to free surface of liquid at point of contact and the part of solid which is in liquid. That is called as angle of contact. Now let us consider some characteristics. The first one, angle of contact is constant for the given solid liquid pair. It means what? It is always constant for glass and water. It is constant for glass and kerosene. It is constant for glass and mercury. So this is the meaning of first characteristic. That is, here for a given solid liquid pair, angle of contact is constant. Just we write here. Whenever we took here glass and kerosene, the angle of contact is acute. When we take glass and mercury, the angle of contact is obtuse. Second one, the value of angle of contact depend upon the nature of liquid and the solid in contact. Now what do I mean by nature? Whether that liquid is able to weight that solid completely or partly or doesn't weight. That is the three different nature of the liquid. So that's why right here the value of angle of contact also depend upon the nature of liquid. It means whether that liquid completely weight the solid or partly weight the solid or doesn't weight the solid. The third one, angle of contact depend upon the medium which is present above the free surface. This is the free surface of the liquid. Here which medium is present above, exists above that free surface, that also decide the angle of contact. Then fourth one, angle of contact changes due to the addition of impurity. The angle of contact in case of pure water and glass is different than angle of contact in case of water containing some soluble salt, that is highly soluble or weakly soluble, that is NaCl or that is the detergent. So we have to discuss it later on. And change in temperature is also one factor which changes the value of angle of contact. And last one, this is the factor which is only independent upon. That is how we insert this solid in a liquid, exactly in a vertical position or in inclined position. If I dip this solid in exactly vertical position or in inclined position, means by making some angle. Though in both the case the angle of contact that remains same. So that's why right here it is independent of the inclination of solid to the liquid surface. So these are the characteristics of angle of contact. Let us quickly revise. It always constant for given solid liquid pair. The value of angle of contact depend upon nature of solid and liquid. Angle of contact depend upon the medium which is present above the free surface. Angle of contact also changes due to the change in impurity, due to addition of impurity and change in temperature of solid or liquid. Only the one thing is that it is independent upon how we insert that solid in a liquid, that is the inclination of solid to the liquid. So this is simply the angle of contact and its characteristics.